tied somewhat to the Rodgers situation, right, is the fallout for other teams. And I'm thinking specifically about the Broncos. So today, reports came out that, or Vic Fangio said that Drew Lock will get the first crack at first team reps, but the rest between him and Teddy Bridgewater will essentially be split 50-50 over the course of camp, and each of them will get a chance to start a preseason game. I know how you feel about Teddy Bridgewater and, well, how you feel about this competition. You think Teddy should win it, and I agree that he should win it as well. But the Broncos, where does this put them now that it looks like Rodgers isn't in the cards for them this year?
Well, there's still another quarterback out there who shall not be named that they could potentially buy for, but ultimately it puts them in a position where they're third or fourth in the AFC West, and they can't go beyond that. They're just not going to get there. Earlier in our pods, I talked about Teddy Bridgewater actually having one of the surprise seasons and potentially way outplaying what his expectations are, but that doesn't change the win total enough to make them viable to win that division.
So you still think that you would put the Chargers ahead, obviously the Chiefs, but the Chargers ahead of them right now for sure?
I mean, yeah, Herbert almost beat Mahomes in his first NFL start on 10 minutes of game notice. I don't know if he was behind the injection or not, but he showed up, he balled out, and they lost by 3 points on, again, no notice. And now you're getting there's two things that are happening. The Chargers are constantly hurt by injuries. So getting Darwin James back is a huge, and hopefully he's back for longer than like a second, a hard knock second. But I'm so high on Staley. I think that once they get a coach that actually manages the game, they're going to be, I mean, we went over this. They lost 7 of 9 of their losses last year by 1 score, and 3 of those losses were by less than 3. So
with a rookie quarterback who admittedly played great, but a rookie quarterback and a terrible offensive line. The fact that they were in the games that they were last year was pretty impressive. And I agree with you that I think the Chargers are number 2. The Broncos just have such a complete roster outside of
they're
the
missing a quarterback.
Position.
And if Teddy Bridgewater can be that perfect bridge quarterback, then they stand an opportunity. I just don't think that they're going to, now that there's a 7th playoff position, maybe they stand a chance of vying for the end. But you're talking about 2 games against the Chargers, 2 games against the Chiefs, and even 2 games against the Raiders is no pushover. Yeah. So the fact that division is so tough makes it difficult for Bridgewater to succeed. And quite frankly, I'm concerned that just because of the draft pedigree of Drew Lock, he gets a shot over Bridgewater.
I'm 100% in agreement with you there. I think they've seen enough flashes from Drew Lock, and maybe Vic Fangio doesn't buy into this, but if John Elway still has his hands on the day-to-day of this team at all, then I think Elway's going to want to see this through with Drew Lock, at least through his 4th year. And I agree. I think the draft pedigree is going to keep him there. Now, I guess my next question for you is, next offseason, assuming Rodgers is moving on from the Packers and calling a shot where he wants to go, are the Broncos still the team for him? Are they still the team that you think he ultimately ends up on?
Broncos have to go all in. That's Elway's style. It's going to get him a 2nd Super Bowl potentially. Peyton Manning style. I know Eli actually got 2. Fuck him. But that roster right now, as it's constructed, I mean, you've still got the Von Miller situation to figure out post this year. But I think that they put a team together to make it happen, because that's your instant shot at a run. We did our QB rankings earlier this year. Aaron Rodgers puts you right in that automatic contender category, and you're not going to get that anywhere else.
For sure. I do want to correct you here. John Elway did win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, 1 as a player and 1. No, I'm kidding. He won 2 as a player. 98,
99, and then with Peyton Manning with the Broncos. So technically he's got 3. if you're counting him as an executive. But the point doesn't change for you there. And I agree. Rodgers, that he needs to go all in, right? This is what you do. You've built this great roster. You are a quarterback away, which a lot of teams, I guess, are a quarterback away from contention. But I mean, this vaults you. You get Rodgers, that vaults you into the top 3, of the entire league. I would think, with the roster that they have around him there, the receiving core, the defense. So and Vic Fangio as a coach. I agree. I think they need to go all in. It just becomes a matter of if Rodgers is given his chance to pick his team now, and they're not the Packers maybe aren't as limited in a sense, and another offseason goes by and maybe another team makes enough moves to put themselves in contention where Rodgers sees it as a viable option.
Maybe the Raiders fire Gruden and they say, Rodgers, you can pick your coach.
Yeah. Yep.
Mike
100%.
McCarthy to the Raiders.
Yeah, right. Oh, God.
But no, I mean, just back to that, it just is the unknowing of these contract concessions for Aaron Rodgers are why I'm still putting an asterisk on whether or not this season. I think he will play out the season at this point with Green Bay, but there's going to be a lot of work as far as how that contract's restructured and what guarantees he ultimately has in his future down the road to make him satisfied to play out the season.
Yep, agreed. It's funny. It's like feels like the whole offseason's been on hold because of these certain quarterbacks, the Deshaun Watsons, the Russell Wilsons, and Aaron Rodgers making their decisions. And now Rodgers has showed up to camp, but we're kind of still on hold to some degree because we don't know what's happening.
He technically still hasn't practiced with them. I mean, practice wasn't scheduled to start until Wednesday, but he technically has not practiced with them.
Yes, very true. So, all right, well, we'll see what happens there. But definitely Rodgers showing up to camp appears to be a huge blow to the Broncos and their chances. Now, I saw somebody float this on Twitter. How much did Rodgers, the leak on draft day that he was available, right? And, was in talks with the 49ers and all this stuff. How much did that affect the Broncos draft strategy? Would they have taken Justin Fields at 9 if Rodgers didn't seem like a possibility to them at the time?
I can't be certain, but
Nice.
They would be absolutely stupid to have been banking on that. Worst case, you've got draft capital to trade Fields to the Bears, the Vikings, potentially the Eagles, the Giants. You take the asset that has the most trade value at that point, and that would have been Justin Fields. So regardless,
the one that you can acquire.
Exactly.
Is the key.
And so you hedge your bets and you say, we've got this as a backup and Justin Fields is an unknown. But if it takes 3 future first rounders to get Aaron Rodgers away from the Packers, then I get 2 future first rounders back for Justin Fields.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me.
I'm not gonna say it didn't have anything to do with it, but it would be a very poor position for the Broncos to put themselves in. And I mean, I that's beyond the day-to-day, to quote the Office. Elway has elevated himself above those types of decisions, so he's not involved in those anymore because he's VP of all things, not everything football. But
it's George Payton's problem now.
Exactly. Sorry, I got promoted by doing shitty. But guess what? I made this fucking city, so you're welcome.
I think he's going to get a lifetime pass no matter what.
Exactly, but that would have been a very poor decision because you're your best draft asset. You're not trading Surtain for multiple first round draft picks. I mean, he's not a fucking Jamal Adams safety. Like, you can't get that kind of return for a cornerback. But you can for a quarterback, and they should have taken Fields. I still am dumbfounded the fact that they passed on him. can somewhat understand the Panthers passing on him just because they were high on Darnold. I don't think it was a great decision either. But the fact that the Bears were able to make this happen, the Broncos could have flipped him for the same exact price if they wanted to get Rodgers at a later date.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why not take Fields and then he's your big trade chip for Rodgers and you don't have to give up as much, right?
Yeah.
You maybe flip Fields and a 1 or something, right? And
well, I was going to assume at this point that the Packers were going to say, we're into Jordan Love. We're going to go all in on him. And so you're flipping Justin Fields to another team. But what I'm saying is the Bears would have been desperate enough to still flip 2 future first rounders. So not even 2020 draft picks. It would have, 2021 draft picks. It would have been 2022 and 2023. And who knows if Pace and Nagy are still even there at that point, right? That's playing with house money. So you would have been able to get that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Broncos fucked up. Maybe it all works out for them in the end and they get Rodgers next offseason. But as of right now, they feel like the biggest loser, to me anyway, from this quote-unquote resolution.
Right.
Yeah, that we've seen.
Yep.